Hello, gang. Tattooed Biker here with you, and I've got a wild doubleheader for you tonight. In the first story, a New England teen reports an unnaturally dark, human-faced quadruped creature in their backyard at night. They felt that it wasn't an animal, but it also wasn't human. And then, a U.S. Army squad leader wrote in to tell me about the time that he led his team into a mission location in Afghanistan, and what they encountered there wasn't any known creature, natural or otherwise. So grab your gear and let's ride.
Number 1. Dear Tattooed Biker, when I was a teen, I slept in a bedroom with a window overlooking my backyard with woods directly behind it. My bed was positioned right next to the window so that when I sat up in bed, I would look to my left and could see out the window. I had blinds on that window that I would always leave open, but my dad would always yell at me to leave them closed so no one could look in. I mean, who was going to look in from our backyard anyway? Well, one night, I woke up out of a deep sleep with a strange feeling like someone was watching me. My blinds were 3/4 of the way down, and I remember the moon was illuminating some of the yard. I sat up in bed and felt very, very frightened. I was never one to get scared or wake up in the middle of the night, and I didn't have to pee or feel sick, so no reason that I would have woken up, but I had a really strong feeling to look outside. I remember I lifted up the blinds further and was paralyzed with fear. There, in my yard, I could clearly see an animal-like creature. This was before I used the internet, or even knew anything about such cryptid creatures, but I knew 100% that whatever this was, it wasn't an animal. It was massive and just so dark. It was the darkest black. It looked so unnatural. The creature wasn't moving, just standing there, creepily. It had 4 legs, small, pointy ears, and a face. Kind of human, but not human. It wasn't looking towards the woods or directly at me, but for some reason I felt like this thing knew that I saw it, and I immediately lay down and didn't want to ever see it again. When I lay down, my head wasn't directly next to the pillow, so it was closer to my legs, and I had to sit up again to pull the blinds all the way down. And when I sat up, I couldn't help but look outside again, and this time, the creature had moved closer to my window. It was sitting or standing in the same position as before, but its head was facing me this time. And I put the blinds down quickly and laid down so fast with the covers over me, and I eventually fell asleep after the adrenaline wore off. The strange thing is, after this encounter, I almost wanted to see this creature again. Every time I woke up after that night, I would peek through the blinds to see if anything was lurking near the woods. I asked my sisters if they had ever seen anything like that, but they said no, and I'm not sure that they believed me. They would never look outside at night. The woods aren't there anymore either. Apparently, they built a train track going through my backyard, so who knows what this thing was or where it ended up. P.S. This was in New England. Thanks for reading. Signed, Christy. Number 2. Dear Biker, I am a member of the United States Army, and I have a personal experience to share that comes from my deployment to Afghanistan. Due to the nature of my service, I cannot and will not share anything that will breach any level of OSPEC or InfoSec in any way, shape, or form, or reveal any details that will or can be construed as such to compromise any operations myself or other members of the U.S. military conduct on a daily basis. That being said, here's my story. I'm a U.S. Army infantry squad leader, a non-commissioned officer with 10 years in service, and I have 12 years under my command in my squad. 10 soldiers, and 2 non-commissioned officer team leaders. My soldiers are ranked E3 to E4, with 18 months experience at the very least, with my team leaders having between 4 and 5 years experience respectively. All of us have at least 1 combat deployment together, with the senior of my soldiers having 2. All of us have enough experience in our service that we are absolutely confident in our abilities and skills as soldiers and know what to do and how to do it, given any and all combat situations that we might encounter. So, when we are given a mission as a squad, separate from our platoon, we didn't really give any thought to the nature of the orders or the fact that we would be a significant distance from our platoon or any ground assistance whatsoever, separate from any CAs or ARTI that we could call in or any other assets that were available. I received the mission, issued the warno and made a plan, initiated movement, gathered recon, and completed the plan. I issued the OPORD, and we Oscar mic'd, all making the appearance of a usual and routine mission, something that we all did daily and completed daily. And then we reached the objective. And it all went to what I can only describe as hell in any given form. We had vehicles that were specifically designed for being explosive resistant and armored enough to give us an edge in surviving a multitude of situations that we might come across. It was dark, and we have the NVGs on, approaching a small village, just 7 buildings, under the cover of darkness. We were all being as quiet as possible, ready for anything. We entered and cleared house after house, and we found bodies, a lot of bodies. So many it was hard to enter any dwelling there without accidentally stepping on any of them. And I've never, in all my 10 years, seen anything as disturbing or as shocking as the condition these bodies were in. And the sheer number was just numbing to behold. Some looked like they were ripped or torn in half. That's no mistake of typing or description. I mean literally torn in half by sheer brute strength. Some of them looked crushed, as if a ton or more of weight was slammed into them, and I mean completely pulped. I have run other human beings over with my 6-ton vehicle, and I know crushed when I see it. And others looked as if I would expect were to eat a piece of raw meat with my teeth, if I had teeth like a shark or some sort of carnivore. Like something had just taken a big damn chunk off them and then kept going. And the rest looked like what I would imagine some sort of mythical monster or something with claws or teeth or sharp anything would have went through them, like so much defenseless flesh all at once. Well, we finally reached the end of this village, and there we met something I can only describe as the closest to demonic as human language can make it. And it was damn terrifying. Thinking about it as I type this is giving me chills and making my heart feel like it'll burst from my chest, and that at any moment that thing will burst from somewhere and do something unspeakable to me before it kills me, ripping me apart like a rag doll full of blood and flesh. To this day, I still have nightmares about it. Our first vehicle opened up on it with a 50 cal, and he was going silk. Next thing I know, I see a 6-ton armored vehicle that can take up to 80 pounds of explosive force and come back rolling. Literally fly, not roll, not flip, I mean fly. It landed in the middle of the freaking village in pieces. 6 damn tons of armor, flew 700 meters. My vehicle was next, and I've never cycled an automatic grenade launcher so damn fast in my whole life. I was linking belt after belt after belt, and I was unjamming it almost as fast as it would jam. I'm screaming my head off on the radio at the same time, trying to get a hold of my other vehicle, call in Cass or Artie, and ordering my squad to shoot the damn thing with every weapon we have. Even though I knew for a fact that we were all doing it anyway, and I'm still just screaming. I can hear screaming and gunfire, and some other shit that sounds like it's millions of voices screaming with us. And explosions and tearing metal. Absolute chaos is in control here, and through my screaming, crying, and praying, the craziest shit happened. Everything suddenly went absolutely silent. No sound, no voices, no gunfire, no explosions, nothing. The world suddenly went mute, and after that, everything slowly came back. My Alpha Team leader, who climbed up to me, had to slap me hard to snap me out of whatever hellish zone I was stuck in. My best guess is shock, but unlike anything I've ever heard, experienced, or watched. It took hours for me to get it together and start attempting to control the situation, get communications with LT, and come to grips with the whole thing. First priority was the first vehicle. We couldn't raise them on comm, so I sent 2 to go see if they were alive or needed medical attention. Then I realized we didn't get a BDA on the thing we just unloaded on. I directed my driver to get closer to the area, and I noticed something right off the damn bat. There was damage everywhere except for one spot. And that one spot was untouched and pristine, like it had never been subject to all the firepower that we had directed at it. Not a single impact. There was no sign of that thing anywhere, not even a single footprint. I've been deployed 7 times in 10 years, and never have I seen anyone or anything walk away from that much firepower. Ever. I know for a fact that no human on this earth could. My 5 soldiers in the first vehicle thankfully lived, miraculously due to the cab being reinforced, but all suffered severe, blunt force trauma from the impact. Although all 5 in the vehicle were immediately given medical discharge and 100% disability a few months later. My other soldiers are all receiving the best psychological care possible. I myself am undergoing psychological evaluation, as well as due the report I gave to my command. The treatment was given to me and my squad is no surprise. However, the way my report of the incident was handled and what happened after is very confusing and frustrating. No more about this has been mentioned or acknowledged ever again. I don't care if someone believes me anymore, as every time that I'm asked about it, and I answer, I'm met with reactions of disbelief or pity and sympathy for my damaged mental state. I'm even attempting to be cleared to continue my service, and I'm forced to lie to my counselors and therapists about my progress in recovering from my experience. I'm still haunted by this incident, and it still gives me a racing heart just thinking about it. I'm hoping you share this on your channel, and I ask to remain anonymous. You can just refer to me as Sarge, if anything. Even if you don't, thank you anyway for taking the time to read this, and thank you for allowing me to send this to you, as I don't get anyone I know outside of my former squad to listen and believe me. Thanks again. Signed, Sarge.
I'm not surprised by this account. There seems to be a variety of unknown beings in Afghanistan as well as in Iraq that defy explanation. I've read and heard several bizarre accounts since 2003. Many I attribute to possibly stress and battle-related fatigue, but every once in a while, an account like this one will surface.
And there it is. 2 shocking, real reports of unknown cryptid creatures. So what did you think about these stories? I'm anxious to hear your thoughts and theories down in the comments below, but please keep it respectful to the witnesses. And if you have an experience that you feel needs to be shared, just send it to the email in the description and, well, it just might wind up in a future episode. So anyways, thanks so much for riding with me. I really appreciate it. And until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, stay safe, and I'll be seeing you on down the road a ways. Biker, out.